No, he don't have a fever. He doesn't have a fever. It's funny how y'all over there trying to diagnose my child. He is okay. Pray for his little cold to go away.
Something is seriously wrong, and the internet felt it before the adults in the room wanted to admit it. 1 minute Chrisean Rock is posting like nothing's happening. The next minute fans are zooming in, replaying clips, and whispering the kind of words nobody wants attached to a baby's name. This wasn't a regular "the internet is bored" moment. This felt different. This felt like that uneasy silence right before a bomb drops in a Netflix documentary. Suddenly, timelines were screaming, comment sections turned into emergency rooms, and everybody became a medical expert with Wi-Fi and trauma. Meanwhile, Karlissa. Oh? Karlissa didn't just get ignored, she got cut off like a bad subscription. Blocked, disconnected. No customer service number. No appeal. And right in the middle of all this chaos, Stunna Girl's name keeps popping up like a cursed notification you didn't ask for. The Kardashians wish their drama had this many layers. This is the kind of mess where nobody's hands are clean, everybody's blaming everybody, and the truth is hiding behind Instagram stories and deleted comments. One-liner check. When the block button gets hit harder than the panic button, you already know this story is unhinged. Buckle up, because what looks like a health scare quickly turns into a family fracture, a public meltdown, and a reminder that celebrity chaos doesn't take sick days. It always starts with a pause. A moment that feels off, a split-second wear. The energy drops and everybody watching knows something isn't right, even if nobody says it out loud. That's exactly how this situation kicked off with Chrisean Rock and her son. Fans weren't reaching. They weren't bored, they were alert. Lives got replayed. Stories got scrutinized. Screenshots started stacking up like evidence on a courtroom table. The mood shifted from jokes to genuine concern so fast it gave people whiplash. And when the internet senses a child might be sick, the gloves come off. Suddenly, Chrisean wasn't just a controversial celebrity anymore. She was a mother under a microscope. And every move felt louder than it should have been. Chrisean's reaction didn't help calm anything down. Instead of the usual chaotic confidence, there was tension in her voice. A sharpness that sounded less like attitude and more like panic trying to disguise itself. Fans clocked it instantly. This wasn't her normal crash-out energy. This was stress. This was fear trying to stay off camera. You could hear it between the words. See it in the way she rushed, snapped, and tried to brush things off while simultaneously looking overwhelmed. And when a mother looks overwhelmed on the internet, people don't wait for context. They assume the worst, then argue about it in the comments like it's a group project nobody volunteered for, while Chrisean was trying to hold things together publicly. The private family drama was quietly detonating in the background. Karlissa, who's never met a situation she couldn't comment on, suddenly went silent, not by choice, by force, blocked, no access to posts, no way to speak directly, no ability to insert herself into the narrative like she usually does. And let's be real, Karlissa getting blocked is not a minor event. That's like unplugging a megaphone mid-speech. The timing made it look even worse. A child health scare and a family cut off happening simultaneously is the kind of coincidence the internet refuses to believe is accidental. People immediately started asking the uncomfortable questions. Did Karlissa say something reckless? Did she cross a line while emotions were already running hot? Or was this a preemptive strike by Chrisean, protecting her peace while everything felt like it was spiraling? The lack of answers only made the speculation louder. Silence doesn't calm the internet, it fuels it, and once fans realized Karlissa was officially iced out, they treated it like confirmation that something serious had gone down behind closed doors. Then there's the Stunna Girl factor, because somehow chaos always finds a way to invite itself into the room wearing designer boots and bad intentions. Her name started popping up in conversations where it didn't need to be, and that alone was enough to send timelines into meltdown mode. Whether she directly caused anything or not almost didn't matter anymore. Her presence in the Narrative acted like lighter fluid on an already burning situation. Fans connected dots like conspiracy theorists on a caffeine binge. They weren't just watching a health scare anymore. They were watching alliances shift, lines get crossed, and bridges burn in real time. What made this whole situation explode was the contrast. On one hand, you've got a worried mother clearly under pressure. On the other, you've got adults around her who can't stop turning everything into content, commentary, or clout. The internet couldn't decide whether to sympathize with Chrisean or critique her, so it did both at the same time. One comment would say, "Prayers for the baby," and the next would accuse her of being careless. It was emotional whiplash, and Chrisean was right in the center of it, taking hits from every direction. Karlissa being blocked didn't quiet her supporters either, if anything. It split the audience into camps. One side argued that blocking her was overdue, that her commentary often escalates situations that need calm. The other side claimed Chrisean was isolating herself, cutting off family when she needed support the most, and the truth, as always, got buried under hot takes and half-formed opinions. Nobody knew exactly what was said, but everyone was sure. It was bad enough to hit the nuclear option. Meanwhile, Chrisean's behavior continued to signal distress. Her posts felt reactive. Her tone felt defensive. She wasn't addressing concerns directly, but she wasn't ignoring them either. It was that awkward middle ground where you're trying not to feed rumors while also screaming. Internally, fans noticed her patience thinning by the hour. 1 minute she'd brush things off, the next she'd snap back at commenters like they personally offended her. That emotional swing didn't scream confidence, it screamed exhaustion. The irony is that Chrisean has survived chaos before. Public breakups, legal drama, viral fights, industry shade. She's weathered storms that would have folded most people. But this was different. This wasn't about her image. This was about her child. And when the stakes shift like that, even the toughest personas crack. You could feel it in how quickly things escalated. One concern turned into 10 rumors. One block turned into a full-blown family fracture. One name mentioned turned into a trending topic nobody wanted. And hovering over all of it was that unspoken fear nobody wanted to say out loud. What if this really is serious? That question sat heavy in every conversation, even when people tried to joke their way around it. Because once kids are involved, the drama stops being entertaining and starts feeling uncomfortable. The internet loves mess, but it hates guilt. And the closer this story drifted toward real consequences, the more tense everything became. By the end of this phase, it was clear this wasn't just another viral moment that would fade by morning. The lines were drawn, the block button had been pressed, the panic had already leaked into public view. Whatever happened next wasn't going to stay private. Because too many eyes were already locked in. This wasn't just a health scare anymore. It was the opening act of a much bigger fallout, and everybody could feel that the calm wasn't coming anytime soon once the panic escaped the group chat and hit the timeline. There was no pulling it back. The internet doesn't de-escalate. It dogpiles. What started as concern morphed into a full-blown spectacle, complete with reaction videos, stitched clips, dramatic captions, and armchair experts diagnosing situations they learned about 30 seconds ago. Chrisean's son wasn't just sick anymore in the public imagination. He became the center of a rolling digital storm where every cough sounded like a siren and every post felt like a clue. And right on schedule, the memes arrived. Because nothing says we don't know how to process real fear like turning it into content. Chrisean tried to push back, but the harder she resisted, the louder things got. Her responses were sharp, defensive, sometimes sarcastic, sometimes exhausted. It felt like watching someone try to hold an umbrella in a hurricane while people online argued about whether she even did one. Fans demanded answers she didn't owe them, then got mad when she didn't give them. It was that classic celebrity trap. Be silent and you're hiding something. Speak up and you're saying the wrong thing. Every word she typed felt like it was being graded by 1,000 hostile professors with different syllabi. Meanwhile, Karlissa's absence became its own storyline. Her block wasn't just a boundary. It was interpreted as an admission of guilt. By association, comment sections treated it like a plot twist in a reality show nobody remembers signing up for. People dissected her past comments, her tone, her history of inserting herself into drama, and suddenly the narrative shifted from "Is the baby okay?" to "Who crossed the line and why?" Karlissa's supporters claimed she was being unfairly iced out during a crisis. Her critics said the block was long overdue, like finally putting parental controls on KS, and then Stunna Girl's name kept echoing through the mess like a cursed chant. She didn't even need to post for the internet to drag her in. Her reputation alone did the heavy lifting. People started framing the situation like a Marvel multiverse crossover nobody asked for. Chrisean, Karlissa. Stunna Girl, 3 personalities with histories loud enough to drown out facts. Memes compared the situation to reality TV on Fast Forward, like Love and Hip Hop directed by someone who hates sleep. The jokes were wild, the takes were reckless, and the empathy was inconsistent at best. Public outrage split into lanes. One side treated Chrisean like a villain, accusing her of prioritizing drama over motherhood, acting like they'd never made a bad decision under pressure. The other side defended her fiercely, reminding everyone that stress doesn't come with an instruction manual and that being famous doesn't magically make parenting easier. It became less about what was true and more about which narrative people wanted to believe. And once narratives harden, facts won't stand a chance. Celebrity reactions didn't help calm anything either. Subtle likes, vague comments, cryptic posts. Everyone wanted to be involved without being responsible. Influencers jumped in pretending to be neutral while clearly picking sides. Reaction channels milked the situation dry, slowing down clips, zooming in on expressions, narrating concern with ads conveniently placed mid-sentence. It felt less like support and more like a digital coliseum, where empathy was optional but engagement was mandatory. Chrisean's emotional state looked increasingly strained. Her posts swung between defiant and drained. 1 minute she'd clap back with sarcasm sharp enough to cut glass. The next she'd disappear entirely, which only made speculation louder. Fans treated her silence like a jump scare. Every absence became suspicious. Every return reignited arguments. It was exhausting to watch, which means it was probably unbearable to live through. Karlissa's supporters started pushing the idea that she was being silenced unfairly, painting her as a concerned grandmother locked out during a critical moment. Her critics fired back that concern doesn't need a public microphone. The debate wasn't really about Karlissa anymore. It was about boundaries, control, and who gets to speak during someone else's crisis. And in true internet fashion, nobody agreed on where the line should be drawn, but everyone was convinced the other side crossed it. The memes grew darker as the tension increased. What started as light jokes turned into uncomfortable commentary, and people began calling out the internet itself for turning a child's health scare into entertainment. That's when the mood shifted again. Guilt crept in. People started second-guessing their own posts. Some deleted comments. Others doubled down, claiming accountability while still chasing clicks. It was messy, hypocritical, and very on-brand for online culture. Through all of this, Chrisean's image took hit after hit, not because of confirmed facts, but because perception doesn't wait for confirmation. Her reputation, already controversial, became a canvas for everyone's opinions about motherhood, responsibility, and celebrity behavior. She was judged not just for what she did, but for what people imagined she might have done. And one's imagination takes over, reality struggles to keep up. What made this phase especially chaotic was how fast it moved. One rumor would trend, get debunked, then be replaced by 2 more before anyone could breathe. The story mutated hourly. Health scare turned into family feud turned into character assassination turned into viral circus. And no one could tell where the center was anymore because everything felt like the center dot by the time the outrage peaked. It was clear this wasn't just another online scandal. It was a collision of fear, ego, history, and public entitlement. Chrisean was fighting for emotional survival. Karlissa was fighting for relevance and validation. The internet was fighting for the last word. And in the middle of it all was a child who never signed up for any of this. As the noise reached maximum volume, something else quietly changed. Sympathy started creeping back in. Mixed with fatigue, people realized the jokes weren't funny anymore. The outrage wasn't productive. The situation wasn't resolving itself. And that realization set the stage for what comes next. Because when the internet gets tired of screaming, it starts looking for consequences after the screaming slows down. After the memes get stale, after the comment sections stop refreshing. Every 5 seconds, that's when the real damage starts to show. The aftermath doesn't trend as fast, but it cuts deeper. For Chrisean, the fallout wasn't loud anymore, it was heavy. The kind of weight that settles into your chest when you realize this isn't just a bad week online. This is a permanent mark on how people see you. Once a child's health gets dragged into public chaos, there's no clean reset button. Every future move gets judged through the lens of remember when. Chrisean's public image took another hit, not because of proven neglect or confirmed wrongdoing, but because perception hardened while facts stayed blurry. That's the most dangerous combination. She became a symbol for debates she never asked to represent: motherhood under a microscope, fame mixed with instability, strength mistaken for carelessness. Even when she tried to show reassurance, people questioned the timing, the tone, the motive. It didn't matter what she said. The narrative had already formed, and narratives don't like being corrected privately. The isolation became impossible to ignore. Blocking Karlissa wasn't just about muting noise anymore. It turned into a visible line in the sand. And once you draw that line publicly, people expect you to stand by it. Reversing course would look weak. Holding it would look cold. There was no winning move. Family fractures don't heal on Instagram, and they definitely don't heal when spectators keep score. What might have been a temporary boundary suddenly felt permanent. Like a door slammed so hard it warped a frame. Karlissa, on the other side, didn't come out unscathed either. Being cut off during a crisis shifted how people interpreted her role. Even those who once defended her started questioning whether constant commentary was helping or harming. Her voice, once loud and unavoidable, felt less authoritative when blocked from the source. The internet, brutal as always, moved from defending her to dissecting her relevance. That's the thing about attention. Once it turns, it doesn't apologize. The Stunna Girl connection lingered like smoke long after the fire supposedly went out. Whether she played an active role or not, her name staying attached to the chaos was enough to reinforce the idea that proximity to drama has consequences in the public eye. Association becomes accusation. People don't separate timelines cleanly. They bundle everything together and call it a pattern. And once someone becomes part of a pattern, they carry it into every future headline. The biggest consequence, though, wasn't about clout or commentary. It was about trust. Fans who once treated Chrisean's chaos as entertainment started feeling uncomfortable supporting it. The tone shifted from fascination to concern, from laughter to unease. Some viewers quietly disengaged. Others stayed, but watched differently, with skepticism instead of excitement. That kind of shift doesn't show up in trending tabs, but it shows up in longevity. Audiences forgive scandals, but they don't forget fear. What made this situation linger was the absence of closure. There was no clear update that satisfied everyone, no definitive statement that shut down speculation. The lack of resolution kept the story alive in low-grade form. Like background noise that never fully disappears, every future post from Chrisean would be filtered through this moment. Every family interaction would be analyzed for signs of reconciliation or further fallout. The internet doesn't move on, it stacks memories. Relationships around Chrisean also felt the ripple effects. Friends became cautious, collaborators stayed quiet, Nobody wanted to be the next name dragged into a sensitive situation. Silence became a survival strategy. And while silence can protect you short term, it also isolates you. The support system shrank, not necessarily out of malice, but out of fear of being misinterpreted. Drama doesn't just burn bridges. It makes people afraid to build new ones. Karlissa's future interactions with the situation became a tightrope walk. Say nothing and look indifferent. Speak up and get accused of exploiting a crisis. Every option came with backlash. The block didn't just cut communication, it cut clarity. Without direct access, everything she said felt speculative. And speculation is the internet's least trusted currency. Even when intentions are good, optics decide the verdict, thought as time passed. The outrage cooled, but the lessons stayed sharp. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a reminder of how fast real life can get swallowed by performance. How easily fear becomes content, how quickly concern turns into cruelty when algorithms reward extremes. The audience watched it happen, participated in it, then critiqued it. All in the same breath, and somehow, everyone walked away feeling a little dirtier. For Chrisean, the future didn't look quieter, it looked more cautious. Every post would need calculation. Every live would come with risk assessment. The carefree chaos that once fueled her brand now came with a warning label. You can survive controversy, but repeated proximity to crisis changes how people interpret your intentions. The line between authenticity and recklessness got thinner, and the margin for error disappeared. And yet, the story didn't end with a neat bow. It never does. The internet thrives on unresolved tension. Today's aftermath becomes tomorrow's callback. A single comment, a random like, a sudden unblocking could reignite everything in seconds. That's the reality of living publicly in a space that never sleeps and never forgets. Never forgets. So here we are. Panic gave way to outrage. Outrage cooled into consequence. Consequence settled into reputation. And reputation, once altered, doesn't bounce back, it evolves. Whether this moment becomes a turning point or just another chapter in an ongoing saga depends on what happens next. But one thing is clear. This wasn't just noise. This was a warning shot. And in the world of celebrity chaos, warnings rarely come twice. Now before you scroll, pause, blink twice, and ask yourself this question: how did we get here this fast? 1 minute it's entertainment, the next minute it's real life hitting harder than a plot twist nobody saw coming. That's why stories like this don't just disappear, they evolve. And if you think this saga is over, history says you haven't been paying attention. In this world, silence is temporary, screenshots are forever. And chaos has a subscription plan that renews automatically. If this situation made you feel conflicted, uncomfortable, or straight up shocked, you're not alone. Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is bigger than one headline. Was Chrisean protecting her peace or isolating herself? Was Karlissa out of line or unfairly shut out? And did the internet go too far, turning fear into fuel for engagement? Say it with your chest, respectfully or recklessly, that's your choice. And don't just sit there lurking like you're afraid the algorithm is watching, because it is. Smash that like button like it owes you money and you're tired of waiting. Hit subscribe like breaking news depends on it, because over here, it actually does. Scandals don't take weekends off. And neither do we. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next plot twist, apology tour, meltdown, or I wasn't gonna say anything but moment that always drops at the worst possible time. This channel lives where rumors start, receipts surface, and the truth fights for air under the noise. Remember, today's controversy is tomorrow's callback, and the internet never forgets it. Just waits. Stay locked in, stay skeptical, and stay ready, because the next headline is already loading. Welcome to the chaos. Welcome to the aftermath. Welcome to celeb insanity.